Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the next 3 months. This is for quarter two of 2025, April, May, and June. You have this abundance card, which is great, and this stillness card. So I feel that it is a time of abundance for water signs. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for water signs. Like, water signs are definitely going to have to work for it. Again, we have Saturn and Pisces. Saturn and Pisces for water signs is like responsibility. And we had Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is now moving into Aries. But, what I will say is that Neptune will be retrograding back into Pisces this year as well. And so what we have to take responsibility for is our dreams. And so I think a lot of water signs, could be creating abundance by being responsible for the dreams that they have. And by being responsible for the dreams that you have, I mean, you are taking action instead of just dreaming about what you want. So if there's anything you're saying to yourself, like, this would really make my life better if I could do XYZ every single day, or, whatever the dream is right here, then taking responsibility means that you're trying it, right? You're saying to yourself, like, okay, if I lived the perfect life, what would it look like, and how can I get there? And that's what I think you should be thinking about, Scorpio, for sure. You have the Five of Swords, the Lovers, and the Queen of Cups. Five of Swords can represent winning at all cost or walking away from something. I don't know. I really feel Scorpio has been walking away from something for a while. It's like sometimes it takes us a long time to like quit a job, or it takes us a while to leave a relationship or to walk away from something in general. And that's kind of like what I feel on this Five of Swords. That's the best way I can describe what I feel, I should say. It's like something maybe has taken you a while to really separate yourself from, but I feel like you're doing it. So, again, I think this is a good thing. I don't really see it as a bad thing. You have the Lovers. You definitely could be attracting love. I mean, it is a good time for water signs for love, especially when we get to May. That doesn't mean April is bad either. I mean, but just May is a really good month for love for water signs. So if you're looking for love, I would get out there. I feel like some of you have been hoping and praying for love, because we have the Lovers with the Magician pointing to the Knight of Wands. The Magician is kind of like attracting something. So if you are attracting love, I feel like you literally attracted it. You asked for it, and like you're receiving it, right? And it's kind of funny because especially for those of you that have been like trying to attract like a specific person, it's like maybe you're a little bit nervous or jumpy about it when it happens, because you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually got this. And that's definitely popping into my head. Some of you could be like interested in a person where there's competition for the person, because we also have the Five of Wands here. But I always say, like, if something's meant for you, it's for you. So trust it. The other thing is I feel that the universe is trying to get you to move in a direction. I'm just going to give you an example. This is only an example. I'm not saying this is what's happening in your life. But let's say you have a job, but you also have a side hustle. I feel like the universe is pushing you in that direction, like towards the side hustle. Or, let's just say this. Maybe there's something in your life where there's like kind of like a responsibility, like a job, and there's something else that you're wishing for. I really feel that the universe is kind of trying to get you to make that decision. We have your higher self angel right here. And so the reading is kind of saying to me, outside of love, but even in love, I think the reading is trying to get you to claim the things that you want. It's like the reading just sucking this all up here, Scorpio. It's like I get this need to be like, no, this is mine. Whatever it is, right? So I would make sure that you are really like claiming the things that you want. You have the Queen of Cups, which is you. I read Queen of Cups as you, not Cancer. So I feel like this is you showing up in the reading. Whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So I really feel you're just showing up in a strong position here, and you're kind of getting the things that you want by asking, right? The other thing is like, what price are you willing to pay? A really great book is that daily routine book, Miracle Morning, by Hal Elrod, right? In that book, he says that he writes his affirmations, and he always puts down, the price that he's willing to pay. And by price, he means like the work, the time, the effort, the energy that he's willing to do to get something. And, with the Queen of Cups there and the Lovers, it's like, I feel that might be a good thing for you to do. Like, say, like, I want to make my side hustle my business, and this is what I'm going to do every single day to make that happen. Like, claim it, say it out loud. With the Five of Swords, you have the Moon. Yeah, we are in a time of risk taking. And I look at the Five of Swords sometimes as a card of needing to take some sort of risk, needing to put yourself out there. The Moon is not being sure what the outcome is going to be. But the Moon is part of the Fool's journey. And the Fool, he has to get to these mountains to find out whether or not the risk was worth taking or not. And so I kind of feel that it could be, you could be taking a risk on something where you don't really know if it's going to work or not, but I do feel it'll be worth the risk. I mean, you're not going to know all the answers. No one really ever does, but I think it would be worth it with the Moon. With the Lovers, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, this is about claiming it. Like I said, this is about making a decision. Two of Swords says you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, basically, right? It's like if you want something, you can't talk about the negatives and the positives. You have to make sure you're talking about what you want. I always say this to people in love. We have the Lovers here. It's like people will tell me they want love, but in the next sentence they'll say, but everybody cheats on me. I'm like, well, you have to stop telling that story if you really want love. You can't be saying two things at once. So that's what I'm getting here with the Lovers. It's like saying you need to make the choice. The Lovers traditionally was a card called the Choice. It represented making a choice in love, but it could be a choice that you're making in any area of your life. Two of Swords, she is thinking this or that. She's not being open to other ways, this island behind her. She's not being open to other ways that things could work if she allowed it, right? So if she stayed open, spoke positively about the experience that she wants to attract into her life, then good things would happen. And, that's really the message I'm getting off of that card. With the Queen of Cups, sure, you have two cards. You have the Four of Wands and the Three of Wands. Could be marriage material if you're looking for love. Both of these cards are kind of cards of freedom, though. The Four of Wands, kind of makes sense with the whole claim it message, because the Four of Wands is a commitment. And so outside, I think you need to claim something. Like I already said, you need to commit to the claim, and you need to do the things that you need to do to make it happen. Three of Wands is about expansion and taking the lead. It's also about going places you've never been before. Moon. He has these boats that are on the ocean here in front of him, and those boats represent an opportunity for adventure, but he's not sure what the outcome is going to be. But like I said, with the Moon, he needs to find out anyway. He needs to go on the adventure. He needs to step into the unknown, and the Moon kind of represents that. The Moon says sometimes we have to step into the unknown to get the benefits from what we're doing, and that's what I would do here. You have this Orphan card and this Building Blocks card. So this is coming up in the area of what's coming in for you. It's like there are a lot of things that you need that maybe you don't have. That's kind of the energy I'm getting off of that Orphan card. But you have this Building Blocks card, and it's like all the blocks are falling into place. This is kind of reminding me of Queen of Pentacles energy. Queen of Pentacles, she is resourceful. She might not have the thing she needs to build what she's trying to build, but she will find a way. She will use a resource that she has. She might not have the money she needs to do something, but she will do it in the way that she can. I'm getting that energy here where it's kind of like saying, do what you can with what you got. And I feel like I said this to you recently, and I think that would be the best thing for you. Instead of putting all these requirements on something, like if you're trying to accomplish something, instead of saying I'll do this when I have money, it's like, no, get started now and don't worry about what you don't have. Next, you have the Six of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Nine of Swords. Six of Pentacles is about planting those seeds. Like I said, it's about planting that first seed and just seeing what happens. I always say with the Six of Pentacles, we need to plant seeds. We need to look at what's growing, what's not growing, and we need to double down on the things that are growing. And that's what I would do here with this energy. I also feel for you that this is about kind of like the wolf that you feed. The story of the good wolf and the bad wolf inside you, and you want to feed the good wolf inside you so good things can happen. It's like he's giving to this person, but not this person. And it seems to me that this reading it's very important what you speak about. We said that with the Two of Swords, and I would make sure that you're feeding the things that lead to progress in your life, and that's really it. That's what I would do with that card. You have the Magician card, probably your most important card here, because I feel that you have a lot of power these next 3 months. I think you have a lot of good chances to make things happen, to manifest. So again, speak positively. He has these flowers in front of him here, and those flowers in front of him represent what he is focusing on. So he is choosing to focus on beautiful things, these flowers in front of him. And, that's exactly what I would do, is I would make sure you're focusing on the good stuff. The other thing I would say is that he has mastery over all the ace suits in the tarot here in front of him. And so he makes sure that he's using the right tool for the job. He might not have the money. He might not have the pentacles he needs to start something. But maybe he has a creative solution with the wands. Maybe he has a solution, an emotional solution with the cups. Maybe he has a logical solution with the swords. He uses the right tool for the job. And, I would make sure, and, I would look at the tools that you have at your disposal, because I think that you could become successful a lot faster if you did that. You have the Nine of Swords. I kind of think the Nine of Swords might be a collective energy, especially for April. It's like, especially the first 2 weeks of April, I feel people could be having some flashbacks, right? There could be some moments where you're thinking to yourself, this goal I have isn't going to work because back in 2006 I had this issue and I'm having the same issue right now and things fell apart. And you know when you go down one of those rabbit holes where you start speeding up and things start getting worse and worse and worse, right? I think this is saying stop. Don't allow that to happen. If you find yourself starting to spiral, right, then stop the spiral and realize that it's just a flashback. It's just a moment where it looks like things aren't working. And I think everyone could be kind of having one of these crises of conscious, or that's not really the right word for it, but it's like, I think the universe could be reminding people of things that they've been through, and it's not to make you think, oh, this is going to fail, if you're working towards something. It's meant to remind you, like, hey, you've already been through this. You've already been to the bottom. You don't need to revisit the bottom. Now is your second chance and your chance to change how things go. So, if you find yourself having, like, this literally might just be a day where you have like a weird day, and I feel like it's saying if you can stop the spiral, then things will go very well. Here you go. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the King of Swords. King of Swords is knowledge and wisdom. See, I think you have all the knowledge necessary to make something very successful, or to turn something into something that could be very successful. I'm looking at this Nine of Pentacles, and I'm really seeing it as a goal that you have. Remember what I said. It's like you have these two paths. One is very traditional job or whatever, and the other is like a side hustle or something else you want to do. I'm just using that as an example. So whatever it is, it's like you have the knowledge and wisdom necessary to make it a success. With the Magician, you have the Queen of Wands. Yes, Queen of Wands about learning as you go. The Moon, the Fool, has to learn as he goes. If you've ever been outside on a full moon, there are shadows. There are illusions, right? There are things that are real. There are things that are not real. And so we don't necessarily see things clearly during a full moon, even though we can kind of see outside, even if it's dark on a full moon. So the Queen of Wands is about learning as you go. She's also trusting her desire. She has this sunflower right here, and the sunflower points towards the sun. So she doesn't really care what's going on. She's just going to work towards the sun. She's going to work towards what she desires to create in her life, and that would be a really good thing for you. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Six of Cups. Like I said, this is a card of innocence and nostalgia. It's a card of thinking about the past. So, like I said, I think everyone is probably going to have one of these moments where they kind of maybe have a day or two where it kind of reminds them of something from years ago. And it's just not something I would worry about. It's something that I would say to myself, okay, this is just a day. And, it's just meant to remind me of what I've been through. And now I'm getting a second chance to change the outcome. And I think that will empower you the most. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this koi fish. It says there is always enough. You have this rhino. It says overcome any obstacle. There you go. So I think you have the ability to really charge through obstacles, and you have the opportunity to kind of correct these obstacles as well. The koi fish is saying something to me as well, that, fish have like two choices. They can go with the flow, or they can swim upstream. But guess what? Both choices in some ways are a good choice, because sometimes the fish needs to swim upstream. Sometimes swimming upstream means that it's getting stronger, right? That's how it becomes strong, by swimming upstream. There are other times where it can take a break and relax in a little pool of water, and it can eat or do whatever else fish do. I have no freaking clue, but it can do those things. So there are moments where you're going to have to take action, and it's going to feel like you're swimming upstream, but eventually you're going to get to that next pool. The story of the koi as well the mythology is that it swims up waterfalls to become a dragon, so some of you really, it's like, yeah, sure, maybe there are moments where you have to swim upstream, but it's like you're doing it to transform, you're doing it to turn into something greater. So don't run away from those obstacles with the rhino spirit. Charge forward and become stronger is what this is saying. I don't know if I said this, but this is the row of messages from your future self. You have the Four of Cups, the Five of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. Four of Cups is thinking, like, am I always going to be disappointed? He has been disappointed 3 times at least. And now he's getting offered this new cup, but he's not accepting it because he is afraid that he will be disappointed if he accepts that cup into his life. The trick with the Four Cups is to realize that you have manifested the ingredients. Again, you've learned the lessons. You learned the lessons from the past. 9 of Swords, 6 of Cups. All you have to do is apply those lessons to this new opportunity, whatever it is, and you will easily overcome the opportunity. So you have the knowledge, the King of Swords. You have the Five of Wands. Excuse me. A lot of competition right now. A lot of people have already had the Five of Wands in this set of readings. So, again, there's something about competition. One thing I will say is we will have a lot of energy moving through Aries. Neptune's moved into Aries. We'll have all the planets that retrograded into Pisces. Mercury and Venus eventually will be moving into Aries, and some other planets as well. And so this could be kind of bringing up some competition energy. Now, one thing that I will say is we're in a time of co-creation, but I think the benefit here is to look at the competition, look at what they're doing, look at what they're not doing, and do what they're not doing. Just that simple. I don't think we have to take part in the competition, right? If there is competition for something we want, we just have to set ourselves apart, and that's what I would focus on with this card. The other thing is, these people are learning from competition. They are using sticks to fight. They're not using swords. So the story of the Five of Wands is really that they're educating themselves and they're learning how to fight. So, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for you to enter into a competition. Like maybe there's a position you want or a job that you want. Even if it's competitive, go for it because you're probably going to learn a lot. Same thing with love. Like maybe you're interested in a person where there's a lot of competition for the person, but who the hell knows? Maybe you'll learn a lot from being in a relationship or from going for it. Or maybe you will learn that the person chooses you, right? So again, don't be afraid of competition is kind of what that card's saying. You have the Knight of Wands. Yes, I'm getting like whirlwind romance type energy here. So I'm not sure how I feel about this yet because most people consider the Knight of Wands to be inconsistent. So if you're attracting love, definitely something I would pay attention to. I always say, I can say something, a reading can say something, but you still have to pay attention. And, so again, if you meet a person, they're inconsistent, guess what? They're inconsistent. Avoid the person. Stop dating them. Of course, right? Just because I can say this is a good person doesn't mean that they are. And, I do feel it is a good person. But again, I would pay attention to that inconsistency if it exists. Now, having said that, I don't think this person's inconsistent. I think that this person might be adventurous or wants to go on adventures. Definitely something to think about. And we'll clarify right now. We'll see what comes up. With the Four of Cups, you have the Strength card. Again, another card that says you've been through a lot and you've developed the strength. She is putting on a display of strength. She has her hands in this lion's mouth. I always say, who in their right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? The answer is nobody. So, again, I think that what you need to realize is that even if something happens with the Nine of Swords where you are reminded of the past, you have developed the strength to overcome it. And now it's time to put that on display. And I feel like you will. So, whatever. I'm not even worried about it. With the Five of Wands, you have the Ace of Swords. Told you, literally a victory. Literally a card of overcoming an obstacle. The Ace of Swords is above these mountains right here, which represents overcoming an obstacle. You have that Rhino Spirit that says overcome any obstacle. So, it looks to me like you are overcoming some competition or, this could be you being in competition with yourself even. Like if you're trying to build something, like I said, like a side hustle keeps popping into my head. I realize not all of you are doing that. Just an example. It could be anything. Then, again, you could be kind of like having a victory in that area of your life as well. With the Knight of Wands, you have the King of Cups. Yeah, I think this is a good person. I wonder if you are just seeing this person. Let me put it this way. If you already have your eye on a person, you might think, like, I don't know, you might think this person is inconsistent, but they're not. Or it might not be that they're inconsistent. I kind of think maybe you're thinking to yourself, I bet this person has a lot of options. Like, obviously, if we're attracted to an attractive person, we all probably think that. Like, why would this person choose me? But, I think that they would. So, I wouldn't be too worried about it. King of Cups has very stable emotions. Sometimes I think King of Cups people can make us nervous. This person, you have water and fire really stand out to me. It could be any sign that's coming in for you. The reason King of Cups people can make people nervous, I think, especially if they're like an evolved King of Cups, is King of Cups has explored his emotions to a very deep level. King of Cups people can almost come off as having no emotions, but it's not true. It's not that they don't have emotions. They're not going to be crying on your shoulder every 2 seconds. They are in control of their emotions. And so, if you're not, like, for example, if you're not used to a person directly communicating with you, this person is, if we're talking about a highly evolved one, this is the type of person, they say something, they mean it. And maybe you're not used to it. So sometimes I think if we're not used to that, it can come off as inconsistent, because maybe if we're too used to playing games with a person, if we meet a person who says something, means it, then, when they say something, we think, oh, they don't mean it, because all the past people that I've dealt with have said things and they don't actually mean it. But no, this person means it. And so, again, I think dating is very simple. I think TikTok and listening to love experts online is the problem for people nowadays, because all these people have all these games that they teach you to play that don't work, right? I don't care what anyone says. I think all these love experts are ridiculous, especially the ones that have been married like 37 times. I saw one once that was like, I've been married 10 times. This is why you should listen to me. I was like, probably not. It's like, yeah, maybe listen to you as to like why you shouldn't get married, sure. But again, what I'm trying to say here is that I think this person says things and they mean it, and so you should listen, right? But I think love is very simple. This is where I was going with this. Sorry, rant over. But what you should be paying attention to is actions. If they say something, do they do it? If the answer is yes, good, keep moving. If the answer is no, then that is a mark against them, and you should pay attention to that as well. So we need to pay attention to the evidence. If we pay attention, we'll be fine. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this card that says time is up. It says no second chances, no revisiting. There's something better waiting. You have this soul family. It says prepare to meet those who share a similar frequency level as you. Yeah, I think a lot of things have been coming up for you in regards to people in your life in the past reading, so you could be meeting better people. I feel like the time is up card is saying, some of you definitely are making a choice. Like I said, it's like you're cutting one choice out and you're picking one path. Job, side hustle. It could be, no person or having a person. It could be, it could be anything. The list goes on and on there. But I think that time is up card is saying that this quarter you're really making a choice. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and the Two of Cups. Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence. It's a card of gratitude and luxuries as well. So really good. You definitely could be increasing your earnings, or if you have a side hustle, you could be making more money with that. The Nine of Pentacles is also about your environment. All three water signs have the Nine of Pentacles. Doesn't really surprise me. I think one thing that will, having a good home base for yourself is going to be good. So that could literally be your home, right? But I think something people need to also think about is things like your habits. So, like, your habits make you who you are. And so I think it would be a great time for water signs in particular to work on the habits that lead to success. If you don't have any habits to create success, then I definitely would create some, right? And you can start very small. I always tell a story. I was stuck in my room for 4.5 years doing nothing. I had a big business failure. I thought I was some sort of great entrepreneur. I wasn't, right? I got lucky the first time. And, I wasn't doing anything. I literally had to start very small. The first thing I started doing was going for a walk every day. That was like one positive habit that I added to my life. And then I just started adding one after the other, right? Now I have a bunch of positive habits that I use to be successful, right? And I do those things every day. If I stop doing them, things go bad in my life. So, again, the Nine of Pentacles can be about developing those habits that lead to success. And that's definitely what I would do with this card. You have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is being spoiled for choice. Yeah, the more good habits you develop, the more options you're going to have in life. So it's like you're giving yourself options, or you're creating options. I also think, again, for those of you that think that they don't have the resources necessary to do something, I feel a lot of you could be discovering the resources, or you could be discovering the options to make something happen. So I feel really good about that. You have the Two of Wands. Yeah, I think you're changing your life in a big way. The story of the Two Wands is that he's standing at the top of this castle and he's looking out here in front of him. He's not looking at the world right here. So he has a lot more options than he realizes. He has the whole world in his hands. There's a lot more that he could accomplish than he thinks. So I think it's time for you to get out there and go accomplish great things and to kind of leave your comfort zone with that Two of Wands. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Chariot. Sorry, I'm losing my voice all of a sudden, but you have the Chariot. The Chariot is charging towards victory. It is also a card of taking control of your situation. But, in the good stuff, I just kind of feel there could be a victory coming in for you. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Page of Swords. Looking for options. Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. If you follow your curiosity, you will find things that will give you options, right? So I would embrace your curiosity. I would be extra curious at this time and see where your curiosity leads you. And with the Two of Wands, you have the Devil. The Devil and the good stuff, habits, right? The Devil can represent the habits that you have, good and bad. And the Devil is about getting rid of the bad habits and focusing on the good habits. Again, the Devil is coming up in the good stuff. Again, like I said here with the love thing, you might think that a person, I don't know how to say this. It's sometimes I think we attract a person and it's we're this person has to be bad. It's not like they're bad, but it's you meet a person, they're really good, and you're where are the skeletons in this person's closet? But I don't know. I kind of feel you could be thinking that about a person, but you really could be meeting a person who's they are who they are. It's everything is out there, the good and the bad. So again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay attention because, again, a tarot reading can say something, but as I always say, tarot should be the cherry on top of your life. It should just be a tiny little thing that you pay attention to, right? It's loose guidance at best. So I would encourage you to pay attention, but, this person really could just be it's they are exactly who they are. There are no skeletons in their closet. You have this criticism card. I feel you need to not criticize. Sometimes I think, right? Let's put it this way. If you're trying to do something and you're thinking, I don't have the resources, which is what we were talking about, kind of I was getting that Queen of Pentacles energy in your reading, even though she didn't show up here, it doesn't matter. I think this is saying you could be being too critical of what you're trying to build. It might be a lot easier than you're making it. So, don't overcomplicate. You have this romance card, yes. Take it slow, pay attention to the evidence. Like I said, if pay attention to the actions, pay attention to the things the person is saying. But I don't know, looks really good love-wise for sure. You have this birth card. So I think that some of you are birthing something new. It doesn't have to be a baby. Nine of Pentacles is pre-Empress energy, so you definitely could be birthing new opportunities in your life, new directions. Feels really good. I like it. Next, you have this Lost card. This card is Saturn and Pisces. We have Saturn and Pisces right now. I think this is about you making a choice. There's this bird here, this crow. It's picking over these bones right here. And, that is very Saturn and Pisces. It's a kind of Saturn and Pisces, plus we have Neptune and Pisces, plus we have Uranus will be changing signs this year. And, so many things going on that are all encouraging everyone to pick a new path, to say okay, you've learned from this situation. Now it's time to move on to something new. And finally here you have this drama card. Yes, I would avoid the drama. We had, Mars retrograde in Leo. Mars is going to be clearing the retrograde May 2nd or 3rd. It's not retrograde right now, but it's clearing the shadow by the time we get to the beginning of May. And I would just avoid drama at all costs. But this looks really good here, Scorpio. I like it. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your quarter.